I don't deserve this, but I'm still walking your way. But when we get there, I still want to fix it in a way. Let's make a deal. I know I'm your son, but just hire me. Watch the mindset, because I don't want nothing free from you. Well, you just took something free, a few days or months. It didn't say how long it was. You took something free. But now when guilt comes in, see, he didn't have guilt then. Now, we need to understand that. He didn't have guilt when he asked for that. He felt that was his. He understood that he was a son. He understood that he was a son when he was in the house. But he just thought he could do things, do better. He didn't want nobody portioning and breaking him off some. He said, I can handle it better by myself. But when he got out there and nobody gave him anything, he saw that he was by himself and he was lost. That's the process. You got to get to that point. And he said, I'll go back there. But now I'm older in the flesh. I've had more experiences in the flesh. And I'm going to come back to this guy as a worker instead of a son. I can talk about that for a while, about how you can forget in the world that you're a son. And now you think you're a worker. Because you still feel you're on your own. That's what guilt does. That's what condemnation does. Because when you're in guilt and condemnation, you feel you're the only one that's doing what? Going through it. So you feel he's by himself. And that's another thing I was talking about, Nikki, a few moments ago. The farther you are away from your source, the more you forget that you are a son. Okay? You start to think like a slave. You start to think like a worker. So now I'm coming back to my daddy's house. I'm being led back to my daddy's house, but I'm willing to shake his hand and make a deal. Say, hey man, give me a contract. I will work for you. We're still there because we hadn't connected back to the source. She said we're still double-minded. Yeah, still double-minded. We hadn't connected back to the source yet. We don't clear up the double-mindedness till we connect to the source. We don't clear up double-mindedness. The way you clear up double-mindedness is putting on a new mind, renewing that mind, and that's the mind of Christ. But we're headed back. We're headed back. Everybody okay? Is everybody okay? Verse 20, and he arose and came to his father, but when he was still a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. Now, here's the scripture for that. You draw nigh to him, what does he do? That's the process. But we won't let our hell, trials, and tribulations lead us back. Because we won't look inside. We blame other folks. It's their fault. See, they should have gave me this. They should have done this. They didn't do this. They hurt me. They did this. They did that. They did this. They did that. They did. And we never look inside, so we're never drawn back. And we ask questions, where's God? Where are you? You cannot get to God or Jesus unless you see you first. You have to go through you before you get to them. And once you look on the inside, you're going to start being drawn. When you start being drawn, he's going to be drawn to you. And you'll connect. You know why? Because it's sort of like a magnet. But in this situation, opposites don't attract. That's how the world operates. Like attracts like in God. Deep is drawn to deep. That's what the scripture says. And you're like God, and God recognizes anything that's like him. But you can't function unless you're connected to him, unless you accept that, unless you accept him. And when you start being drawn, no matter, he don't see the guilt. He can't. God sees himself. And the first time I got in trouble in church is when I said God was arrogant and prideful. I got in trouble. That's the first time I realized I can't say anything, over people's pulpits. So God is prideful. I wouldn't say that. And I got back up and I said, you probably wouldn't. But he is. That's what you read. His name is pride. Pride. It's in the book. His name is jealous. He said, that's my name. That's my character and my authority. Because there's nobody like me. Now, we preach and talk and teach that. No, because that's bad. See, that's what we've conditioned up. But we got to renew that. He said, I recognize me. The son is thinking in guilt and condemnation. He said, I see past that. But something is drawn to me. And son, if you can get to me and connect with me, you will hear what I have to say. But it took the world kicking off in your head for you to get there. It took you doing things just your own and same way and failing for you to get there. But when his father saw him, he had compassion. He had compassion and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. And the son said to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in your sight, and I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. God accepts that. God accepts that. But we're afraid to tell him. Because God don't like ugly. So we can't tell him stuff like that. He told him that. If you're not at the point to tell him that, he can't say, but the father said to his servant, bring out the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and sandals on his feet. And bring the fatted calf here and kill it. And let us eat and be merry. For this my son was dead. That's important. Goes back to what we were talking about earlier. The farther you're away from the life source, you're dead. And is alive again. Why? He found me again. He was lost and is found. And they begin to be merry. Now guess what? The daddy did not even acknowledge this guy's negative statements. He didn't even acknowledge it. He's like, I don't see that, But you need to be there. And bring it to me so I can show you it's not that important. The only thing he sees you as is a son. Or a daughter, however you want to translate it. But when we're in the spirit, we don't think men and women. Because there's no male or female in the spirit. That's why the Bible refers to God as a man and us as sons. Why? And even our culture gets it. That's dominant. Y'all follow me? Sons are dominant. So you are a son, whether you're male or female. Your flesh is the daughter. We'll get that later. When it comes to a human. The father did not acknowledge it. He said, come on. Give him my robe and put it on him. Give him my robe and put it on him. Now here's what he's doing. He's living in guilt and condemnation. And if anyone sees him, he's going to talk about guilt and condemnation. But if you put my robe and my ring on him, when they see him coming, they're going to think of me. And he's not going to even have the opportunity to talk about negativity. They're going to treat him the way they treat me. Prodigal son. And so when they walk up, he walks up, they're going to do this. They're going to bow.